Welcome back to Simply Money. Today we're going to be looking at budgeting apps. In particular, I found one that I think you'll be extremely interested in. Mint, the budgeting app, will be going away soon. Many of you may be using that and wondering what you're going to replace it with. Some of you may be looking for a budgeting app because you're at a place where you know you need to budget. If you follow this channel at all, you know we talk about it constantly, that you have to have a budget. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you save. And in order to get a plan together and to save for your future, for your financial independence, whether it's early retirement or just for retirement, to make sure you can take care of yourself, you need to have a budget and a plan. So we're going to look at a special app that I found, PocketGuard. And I'm going to look at some of the key features. I think you'll be extremely excited to find this as an opportunity for you to get your budget under control and to watch how you're spending your money. And it has useful tips that will help you eliminate some unnecessary expenses as well. So join me as we look at some of these key features. The first thing I like about PocketGuard is how easy it is to set up. When you first log in, you can go in and you can connect your accounts. Now, if you're concerned about connecting accounts, they do have the option to manually put in your transactions, and you can always connect your accounts later on. So don't worry if you just want to test it out, give it a trial, and put in some of your transactions manually to get a feel of how this works. But once you fall in love with this like I have, all you have to do is connect your accounts, and it takes care of all your transactions for you. Simple setup is key number one to any good app. And PocketGuard has that down. So great job there. Second thing I like about this application is what they call the In My Pocket. In My Pocket lets you know what is available for you to spend. You always have your phone with you, open up the app, and it shows you right there in the home screen how much you have to spend. This is based off what's coming in, what's going out, what you have budgeted, and this is a great feature. It's a quick, easy way to put you at ease because a lot of people feel like a budget is a restraint, but a budget is freedom. A budget allows you to know that you can spend it. So when you get home later or when the bill comes in later, you know that you had the money to pay for it. And that's a great feeling. And that's a liberating feeling. So that's number two that I like about this is the In My Pocket portion of this. The third feature that I like is the transaction portion. The transaction transparency allows you to look at all the different categories that are there and you can budget accordingly. And those transactions get put into those categories. So it's very easy to set up with that. You can keep it more general if you like. If you just want to put utilities as one thing, or you can break it down into water, sanitation, electric. The options are unlimited, and that's the great thing. It's customizable for you. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all budgeting app. Another great feature, and I think this is something for a lot of people, they don't like some of the apps because they're very generic and hard to manage how they budget. So the next feature I want to look at is the wonderful pie charts. Pie charts for a lot of people are very important. I like analytical. I like looking at numbers. I look at data. I like looking at rows and rows of figures. That is okay. I like that. But I also like the visual. And for a lot of people, the visual is key because it lets them see and really see it for what it is on how much money they're spending. You can break down your food, your entertainment, whether you're eating out, door dashing, all these different things that maybe you're doing and find an area where can I cut some things out of my budget? Maybe I can still eat out. Maybe I just don't DoorDash, or maybe I go pick up and I don't eat out. So I'm saving money on tipping and things like that. There's ways you can do that and set up your budget and then visualize how much am I spending on these things? How much of my total income is in this, or how much of this category am I spending on this particular part of that luxury? Maybe it's your Starbucks coffee and you're spending $7 every morning on your way to work. Or maybe you stop at the local gas station and get a coffee, or you make it at home. There's lots of things. I'm not telling you how to do it or what, but the feature on this app is amazing that it just shows you that visualization, and based on how you set up your transparent transactions, you can then go ahead and set this up towards really breaking down each category for you and then holistically for you. The next part that I enjoy on this is the goals. A lot of apps for budgeting don't have goal setting for you. They basically just tell you, this is how much you make, this is how much you spend, or you put in how much you make and how much you want to spend. This allows you to set up goals and see what you're doing and how you're progressing on that. It can be short-term, it can be long-term goals. That's a great thing because if you don't have goals, then you're never going to achieve your financial freedom. So start with some simple goals, whether it's setting up an emergency fund or whether it's paying down debt, the different categories that you individually have to deal with. You go ahead and set those up and have those goals in place. Make sure you have some short-term goals because psychologically, money has a way of encouraging us or discouraging us. If we have short-term goals and we're making progress, then it's easier to reach our long-term goals. The other part about the goal setting is they use the SMART goals format, which is very structured, unlike a lot of budgeting apps, if they even have goal setting at all. Now, the last section I want to talk about as far as features is the category budgets. This is where you can set limits on particular categories. Maybe you have a hobby, let's say it's golfing, and you want to set a limit on how much you can spend per month. So your category will alert you that you have reached that budget limit for the month. So having these categories really can help in setting up those budget guardrails for you is another great feature because a lot of budget apps have a budget you can set, but it doesn't give you a warning or show you any guide on how you're doing within that category. It just shows you like, here's where you're at and generally and not as specific. So this is a great tool to use to help keep you on track in particular areas and then find areas maybe you can cut back on as well. And it's not just about cutting back. If you need to find extra money for other categories, it allows you to go through all of your different categories and look where you want to set limits on. Like I don't want to spend more than X number of dollars on streaming services, or I don't want to spend more than X number of dollars on eating out. So you get to choose where you want to set that category, that amount, and then go from there. So my overall take on PocketGuard is it's a great application. It's accessible. It's easy to use. It's simple to follow, and it can get more complex if you need it to. That's a great app is when it can be both simple and complex. For those that want to deep dive and get further into setting goals and setting up financial categories in very minute detail, you can do that, or you can just set up very generic and general categories. But it helps you, bottom line, get on a budget, stay on a budget, and hopefully reach your financial freedom goals. So that's my take on PocketGuard. Leave me a comment down below. What do you think? Have you ever used PocketGuard? Any questions, please feel free to ask. It's always a joy to share information with others. I hope you find this useful. Regardless, I hope you get on a budget, stick to a budget, and reach your financial goals. Thanks for joining today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Simply Money.